Welcome back, everybody. I'm John Bachman, filling in for Steve today here on the show. It's great to have you with us. There's something very important we want to get to right now. This kind of just breaking. We talked about breaking news there. We're going to talk about some more breaking news. I'm holding in my hand here a new article that was just released in the New York Times, and it says the headline here is "Christie knew about lane closing, Export Authority officials say." With us on the phone, Charles Payne from the Fox Business Network, and also Dan Epstein from the Washington watchdog group Cause of Action. Gentlemen, it's great to have you with us.
Thanks.
All right, and also here with us in studio is Rick Ungar, Forbes. Not know that this type of thing would happen, that someone in his staff would close down lanes on the George Washington Bridge to cause traffic troubles in Fort Lee, New Jersey, where the mayor of that city refused to endorse Governor Christie. Here is the lead story of that New York Times article, and then I'll get you guys to weigh in. The former Port Authority official who personally oversaw the lane closings on George Washington Bridge in the scandal, now swirling around Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey, said on Friday that the governor knew about the lane closings when they were happening and that he had the evidence to prove it. Dan Epstein, Washington watchdog group Cause of Action. How bad does this look for Chris Christie right now?
Well, we don't know the full facts. What there is an allegation that Chris Christie should have known. There's no evidence that he actually knew about what the lane closings were actually meant for, that it was for some political reason alleged to have been the basis of this. And so I'm still waiting for the full facts. To me, this just shows that Chris Christie may have known or should have known about something. There's not the evidence. There's not the emails. There's nothing. There's no phone records. To me, this is just allegations that have yet to be proven.
And Charles, let me reference a couple of things to kind of play off on what Dan was saying here, and I'm going to read a little bit more on this New York Times article. This letter that was released by David Wildstein's lawyer, and I'm quoting here, the Christie administration's order. That's what Wildstein's lawyer is referring to, and also that evidence exists as well tying Mr. Christie to have knowledge of the lane closures. These are quotes coming from Wildstein's lawyer. What's your take on this?
Well, yeah, I agree that obviously it looks bad right now. I think Christie's already paying a political price in the polls, at least. But if this is not really a true smoking gun, when it's all said and done, we're talking about someone who is actually a governor, who actually has these issues of running a state, a municipality on a day-to-day basis, where I don't know if every governor. I can't imagine that every day he would check in and say, hey, is there a traffic jam at the George Washington Bridge? So I think the majority of Americans would actually give him the benefit of the doubt. And certainly he could argue, when it's all said and done, if there aren't any smoking guns and there's no conclusive evidence that he's been the most vetted guy out there, he could try to play on it, but it puts him in a negative position right now, without a doubt.
Well, Rick, let me ask you this, all right? If I'm a chief executive and something like this happens, way back whenever this happened, I certainly want to look into what happened.
Yeah, here's what's weird about the article. And first, let me say to my buddy Charles Payne, Charles, I'll go anywhere to dog you. You see that, don't you? So look, I mean, here's what's so odd about it. The lawyer in me immediately picked up on the fact that the article says he knew the lanes were closing. That doesn't mean that he knew why the lanes were closing.
Right.
But what is odd is what you just raised. Why would he know that the lanes are closing? If the lanes close in somewhere in New Jersey, they tell the governor? No, it's just, he's way above that. So if he did know it, doesn't that kind of give you a sense that he would know why they were being closed?
Yeah, and the overarching question on all of this, I think for a lot of folks, and we still have yet to get a good answer as to why this is, number one, has resigned. She said it's time for some traffic problems. We know this is man-made. So if she has that authority to make these kind of decisions, what does that say about Christie as a chief executive when his staffers are kind of running amok like this, knowing that this was going to cause him trouble down the road?
If they're running amok.
If they're running amok. What? And if he did know, obviously that's maybe the bigger issue here. Charles, what's your take?
There's a lot of ifs in it. I think it's amazing, absolutely remarkable that we elected a president who, for the most part, is doing on-the-job training, and now people are quick to indict someone who's actually doing the job, the kind of job that prepares you to be the so-called chief executive of the United States? Do we now where, hey, you were a governor somewhere, something went wrong under your watch and by a couple of minions, and you should have known? I think it's already a bad situation in this country where a tremendous amount of qualified people are afraid to even run. So, I don't know. We'll see how it comes out.
Was that Charles trying to turn this all onto Obama?
Fact.
Oh.
I commute to New York every day over to GW, and traffic has gotten much better.
Was that Charles trying to turn this on Obama? Is that what I just heard?
Well, you can't blame him. I mean, you can't blame him for that. Dan, you guys, you kind of specialize in all this stuff. Have you guys been looking into this Christie scandal at all?
Well, the one thing that no one has really talked about is that the Christie video, which I think there's now some Senate scrutiny on this video that he did about Hurricane Sandy. At the end of the day, it was funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And so one of the things that we have been looking at is whether this constitutes propaganda in the idea of federal government money getting used for any political purposes. But that's a separate issue totally. And I think at the end of the day, when I look at something like this, it's not if someone sent an email to Christie's account saying this is something that we approved, that doesn't, in my mind, constitute knowledge. It constitutes knowledge if Chris Christie had planned and deliberately intended that these lane closures happen for some political reason.
So in other words, at this point in the game, it still kind of passes the smell test for you?
I actually don't think it passes the smell test. I think there's something where ultimately we have a U.S. attorney who said he's going to be investigating this. We have politicals within the state of New Jersey who said they're going to be looking at this. Let's see what evidence they show, not whether a reporter has alleged to have seen some email or seen some letter.
What's your spider sense tell you? Come on.
My spider sense is that Chris Christie has every opportunity to be open and honest about what he knows, and he immediately addressed the public about these issues, and he's been open about everything in his political career, and I think we should support that kind of openness in a politician and someone who may be a candidate someday.
All right, gentlemen, I want to move on from this topic and move into the realm of executive orders. We heard the president talk about this during the State of the Union this week. He's been very clear, as he likes to say, about his phone and his pen. We have a clip from Charles Krauthammer from Fox News, clip number 10, talking about President Obama and executive orders. All right, well, we don't have that clip ready for you at this point, but when you look at President Obama, guys, and the number of executive orders that he has signed so far in these 5 years of his presidency, it's still less than Ronald Reagan signed in his entire first term. President Obama hasn't used the executive order as much as previous presidents. Is it the kind of executive order, though, that he's using that has so many conservatives, guys like Ted Cruz and Charles Krauthammer, are so up in arms about the way he's going about it? And we'll go ahead and start with you, Charles.
There's no doubt about that. And, during the State of the Union address, the president talked about how the political debate was so bogged down and so, I guess, acrimonious that he's just going to sidestep it and step in and start to rule with a more imperialistic sort of caveat. And that's the scary part, that the president he's too bothered with the debate system, the give and take, the back and forth. He can't understand it. Compromising in his world is when you agree with him. Period. All
right, let's wrap up. Charles, thank you for that point. We got about 30 seconds left. We'll wrap up with Rick with the liberal rebuttal to that point.
Actually, it's something you have to be very careful about. It's very easy to politicize executive orders. The simple truth is Ronald Reagan used it way more times than Barack Obama would even have time left to use it. And that said, I do still worry about them. It gets very deep into constitutionality. It's worth more discussion, but it's something you have to be very careful.
All right, we'll hear more about it. We'll be right back after this.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't